Hi, good morning, friends. Today we will discuss about that motion in a magnetic field. As you are aware that in 11th science you have learned that whenever our centripetal force and centripetal acceleration will be there, we have one formula. We have discussed at that time that is called as F is equals to mv square divided by r. So I am just using this formula to derive that motion in a magnetic field. First of all, have a look at this figure. Whenever we have just seen such type of a cross or dot notation, we might be aware about magnetic field lines are going inside, and whenever dot is there, magnetic field lines are coming outside. So here I am putting a charge over here, which is passing into the which is perpendicular to the our magnetic field lines. As you can see that magnetic field lines are going inside, likewise my direction of my pen and my charge I have placed which is moving around into the magnetic field. So you can just see that I have mentioned that F and V. So you are aware about force and velocity. As per our Lorentz equation, we have learned that F is equals to Q into Vd cross B, and you are aware that that is called as a vector product. So we will use this notation and place that F equals to Q VdB and sine theta, and you are aware that magnetic field and our charge both are perpendicular, so theta equals to pi by 2. So my formula is equals to QVB and then theta equals to 90 degree. So first of all I'm just saying that Vd is equals to V because our drift velocity, I have mentioned this name, Vd is called as a drift velocity, and the drift velocity is nothing new concept, you have learned in chapter number 3. Whenever our charge is experiencing such type of frictional force, we are saying that it is called as our drift velocity. So F equals to mv square by r and F equals to mv square. So these are the two equations we have. Let's say this would be equation number 2 and this is equation number 1. I'm just putting that both the equations are equal, so I can have mv square by r is equals to qvb, and you can see that my value of velocity is equals to qb into r divided by m. And if I'm using that my radius of equation, so you can also use that r is equals to mv divided by qb, because in the next few seconds in this clip we will use this formula. So you can see that previously we have assumed that our path is called as a circular. This is called as a cross-sectional view or top view. From that we can see that our charge is moving in a circular fashion, but actually its path is not circular. It is called as our spiral path. So our charge, whenever placed in the magnetic field, it is experiencing such type of helical path. So you can just use this part as a helical or spiral path. And you can just observe that whenever we have a components of velocity, this is called as a parallel component and this one is called as a perpendicular component of velocity. So whenever you have a place your charge into the magnetic field, from that you can see that our charge is experiencing such type of a spiral path. So you can just observe that, let's say I have my flow of electron in this direction. Let's say this is pointing, this point of my nib is suggesting my charge direction, so I'm putting that my another force that is perpendicular to it, so my electron is not moving forward, it is leaning towards some angle. So as per my gradual path will be not a linear path, it would be a spiral path. But what I am interested towards is that finding it out distance between the two consecutive pitches. This is a new word for you, pitch. What is called as a pitch? It is called as a whenever our charge is experiencing such type of a helical or spiral path, it is having some consecutive distances between the two spirals, it is called as a pitch. So you are aware about the formula v is equals to distance upon time. So right now instead of this distance I am mentioning that that distance is called as a pitch divided by time. So my value of pitch is equals to velocity into time. So I'm just modifying this equation because p is equals to v into t. So this is the equation, let's say I'm just mentioning as equation number a. So my value of formulas, you are aware about that some of the very basic and primitive equation, t is equals to call as 2 pi by omega, and 2 pi is there, and you are aware about v is equals to r omega, so that would be v by r. So my value, that is called as a p, is equals to v into time. So my velocity is as it is. Instead of a t, I have a 2 pi r by v. So my p is equals to 2 pi r, and from the value of r I have, that is called as a mv by qb. So I can just put that value r is equals to mv divided by qb. So I can get that Peach formula: p is equals to 2 pi, that is called as a mv divided by qb. So you can suggest us this is called as a pitch. Pitch is called as a distance between the two consecutive spirals, and its a unit is called as a meter, and its a dimensional configuration is called as m0, l1 and t0. So this is how you can just find it out, pitch. So this is the initial condition, initial observation we have seen, that is called as our motion of electric charge in a magnetic field. Now you have another theorem which is in front of you. You can see that I want to find it out, this same equation, and I am just naming it as a cyclotron. And the cyclotron is a new thing for you. First of all, we are observing our figure. You can see such type of red lines or red dots is indicating that magnetic field lines are coming outside, and these are the two D-shaped rings. It is called as a Ds. So I am just mentioning that D1 and D2 both are nothing, both are called as a Ds. And you can see that this is called as a disturbance, or you can say balancing coil. This is a magnetic field which is coming outside. So this is oscillator which has been taking care of our frequent oscillations. So very first thing is that we have placed this entire arrangement in a such a vacuum part, so no other particle take place in this entire manner. Let's say I'm just pointing towards point P. At this point I am putting my charges. So first of all, you can say that proton or electron. This method has been invented in 1934 by O.P. Lawrence. So we will just learn this method. With the help of that, first of all, I am putting a proton into this system. You are aware that our charge is not experiencing any type of extra influence in this method. So it is experiencing our type of a force due to only magnetic field. So I am just deriving that our magnetic field will be there, our charge is there. So you are aware about this theorem. We have learned that whenever our charge is placed in the magnetic field, either going inside or coming outside, we can see that it experiencing some forces. So whenever we have placed this charge, our charge is experiencing such type of a motion. So you can say that where my charge is gradually moving towards one disk to the another disk, it is experiencing such type of force. And whenever it is experiencing such type of force, it is been gradually gaining its kinetic energy, and as per kinetic energy is increases, its radius is also increases. When our radius will be equal to the disk radius, then our charge will come out from this part, that is called as outlet. You can see that our gradual kinetic energy is also changing, and we have placed such arrangement that our charges has been placed. One is as a positive, and next one is called as a negative. So whenever positive and negative disk has been kept, its a frequency is changed, and it is called as oscillator frequency. So you can first of all conclude that, okay, our kinetic energy is directly proportional to our radius is square. So you can just observe that, okay, time, periodic time is called as a 1 upon frequency of oscillation. So you are aware that previously we are aware that t is equals to 1 upon qb divided by 2 pi m. So our periodic time is called as a 2 pi m divided by qb. So this is the periodic time taken by any charge, either proton or electron we have placed, to complete that entire circular or spiral path. So you can just say that, so for the frequency our equation will be reciprocal of a periodic time, that is called as a qb divided by 2 pi m. Now I am using one notation which we have used in the previous part, that is called as a velocity is equals to qbr divided by m. What I want to prove is that it's a kinetic energy. So first of all, I am squaring on the both these sides. So squaring will give me q square b square r square divided by m square, and you know that whenever q square b square r square. So what I want to just prove is that kinetic energy. Now applying double implies I am multiplying by the mass and divide by 2. It is giving me kinetic energy. So q square b square r square divided by 2m square. So I can say that that entire part is called as a kinetic energy. So it would be q square b square and r square divided by 2m, that is called as my kinetic energy. Previously we have assumed that kinetic energy is directly proportional to radius square. So from this theorem we can just say that kinetic energy is directly proportional to the radius square. Then it is also directly proportional to the charges square and magnetic field, and it is a reciprocal to the mass of it. So you can say that higher the mass, lower will be the kinetic energy. So we are using here our proton, which is highest in mass, that is called as a 1.67 cross 10 to the power minus 27. So that is called as a mass of proton 1.67 cross 10 to the power minus 27 kilograms, while mass of electron we are not using because it is not experiencing such type of spiral path. Because of that it's a lesser amount of mass. So this is the very primitive information we can conclude from this our cyclotron theory, because our cyclotron is giving us that first of all frequency, next one is called as its circular path, its periodic time and kinetic energy. Though this method is very much useful in some of the very primitive part, it has been useful for the learning nature of some of the charged particles. Next one is that you might have heard about that God particle. It is called as a Higgs boson particle. And last one is that it is used in the therapy that is called as a to cure that cancer. So to produce radioactive elements with some of the higher energy and frequency, we are using our cyclotron theory. So with the help of a motion in a magnetic field, we have learned that our path is not actually circular, it is a spiral, and we have learned its pitch, we have learned its velocity, it's a periodic time. We can also use the same theory and learn that cyclotron, where we have placed such type of arrangement in a magnetic field and our electron is experiencing such type of a force, and then we have found it out so kinetic energy have relationship with the radius. So in the next clip we will learn about some of the other formulas.